Hey, grab a moment and picture this like I'm sitting right next to you with this thing humming on my desk. Panorama XL. This is for the kind of person who feels when their current rig just barely gets by, who knows there's a huge difference between playable and effortless, and who's tired of lowering settings just to keep things smooth. Before we go any further, take a quick look at the current price and stock. Systems this powerful don't stay in range once serious gamers start upgrading. You knew it was time for something like this the second your old setup started sweating during big battles, or new releases asked a little too much and you found yourself cutting corners just to stay competitive. That nagging frustration of dropped frames, long load times, choppy scenes, that's the sign your gear had stopped keeping up with what you want to do. The first time you launch a game on this machine, there's a moment where you realize you're not waiting for anything anymore. No pauses, no hesitation, no texture pop-in. Just smooth motion where the action stays locked in and feels alive. That's a relief you don't forget. It's like every limit you'd learned to tolerate suddenly disappears. Imagine tearing through open-world titles and never seeing a frame dip. Picture competitive matches where your responses aren't held back by stutters. Envision video editing or rendering scenes and watching timelines move like they're on rails, not clogged highways. It's not just numbers on a spec sheet, it's a feeling every time you hit play. While you're thinking about that, check pricing again. Waiting often means weird price jumps or configurations vanishing, and that's the kind of regret you feel every time a big release drops and your old rig just can't keep up. If you're hesitating because you think this might be more than you need, let me reframe that. This isn't about having excess power you never use. It's about ending those moments where you hope your system can handle something and instead having confidence it will. Once you've lived with fast load times, buttery frames, and instantaneous responsiveness, anything slower starts to feel like a compromise rather than a tool. There's a subtle shift that hits after a few days too. You stop budgeting your performance. You don't worry about which apps are open or how many browser tabs you left running. You just do your thing without hesitation. That peace of mind is underrated until you've lived with it. You feel every scene stay fluid. You stop adjusting settings mid-play. You launch new titles without fear. You trust your system completely. You feel proud of what you own. The only real downsides are that you might become painfully aware of how weak older systems feel, and once you've experienced this kind of power, anything slower feels like a step backward. Eventually, all the back and forth comparing ends. You already know what feels right when you sit down at your desk. Don't let this be the upgrade you keep postponing and then regret when the next big game drops and your old setup stumbles. If you're ready to stop settling for almost good enough and step into a system that matches your ambition, check the availability now and make this yours. The moment you hit play, you'll know exactly why it mattered.